morning, everybody. We are back with the second episode of Coffee and Koans. And what would this series be without my morning coffee? So let's begin by taking a sip of my coffee. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing the story of The Empty Boat, I guess is a good title to call this one. So the story goes like this. There was an old man who was out fishing on the lake. He was all alone. And it was very foggy that morning that he was out fishing. He was out there fishing, peaceful as can be, and it was a bit foggy. And suddenly, he's in his zone and he's fishing. And then suddenly, a boat bumps into him. And the man, being abruptly brought out of his zone of peace and tranquility and fishing, spins to the boat and does what he thinks is address the person who bumped into him. He spins and he looks at this boat and he says, "You idiot, you ran into me." But the fog clears up a little bit and the man sees that the boat is empty. There's no one there. Now, as with many of these koans, this story can be taken and looked at in many different ways. But I'm going to be sharing personally what this koan means to me. It seems to be pointing us in the direction of recognizing where our reaction, whether that be an angry reaction, like in this story, or even a positive reaction, where our reaction is being directed. Speaking in the sense of this story, the man that was fishing assumed that someone was at fault for him suddenly feeling this anger. And the man, without even thinking, without hesitation, spun around to direct, to blame the person who must be driving this boat, to blame him for bumping into him and making him feel this way while he's out fishing in peace. But the boat is empty. There's no one there. So in that moment, that fisherman is left to himself with how he feels. There's no one to blame. There's no one that he could blame. He's left to experience that reaction in himself. And I think what this koan is pointing towards, at least in how I see it, is that this is what's going on. This little story I've shared with you is a greater picture of what's going on in our day-to-day lives. We're all just empty boats. It's very easy for it to appear as if there's a driver of this boat and all these other beings. It's very easy to see that they are someone who does things to you. They are someone who can make you feel this way and that way. But we're all just empty boats. There's no one here. There's no one in here that does things to the world. It's all just phenomena occurring. In the same way that the boat just so happened to be moving and lapping on the waves, moving in the wind, and just so happened to bump into the boat where the fisherman was. That's what we're all doing. That's what we're all doing. When someone insults you, or offends you, or attacks you in any sort of way, or does what you would identify as being wronged, when someone wrongs you and upsets you, what are you mad at? What is it in particular that you're mad at? It's very easy to look at the situation of when someone offended me and, to put it frankly, give our sovereign power away to this empty boat that is just a natural occurrence. Give our power away to this phenomena of another being doing something and say, that made me angry. And what we're doing when we say such a thing, or we think such a thing, is saying, this being has control over my emotions, my power. And because they did that, they made me feel this way. But to keep along the lines of what this koan is pointing towards, there's no one there. There's no one there. It's an empty boat that just bumped into you. And what this reveals is that what we're really mad at, what we're really irked about, is our own reaction and our own mind that created a being to be mad at. It's hard to see that we create our reactions to this world. It's much easier to look out and say, this person is making me feel this way. This event is making me feel this way. But through self-reflection, I feel like we begin to see that that's not necessarily the case. I think we begin to see that this world, in a way, and all its beings, are just a bunch of empty boats. Just happening. Just stuff happening. And this isn't to dismiss the essential being of someone. This isn't to say that you are merely an empty boat. But this is more so to help us understand that people don't make you feel certain ways. People are empty boats happening in the just floating and bumping around in the complete whim of nature as a whole. And when we have a certain model in our mind, and to relate it to the story, this fisherman would have rather not been bumped into. He was enjoying his alone time while he's out there fishing. He would have rather remained alone. But when someone does something to us that interferes with our model of what we'd like to be experiencing, we say it's their fault. But what's really going on is that the natural world is happening as it is, free of a doer, free of a driver of the boat, to keep it really in line with the story. There's no one there. There's no one particular thing that you're actually mad at. That what you're mad at is your own reaction. And reflecting on this, it allows us to see that we are the ones who give our power away to a bunch of empty boats, to something that's not even there in essence. We react based off of our own system of thinking and say, you made me feel this way. You made me feel this way. But that's not what's going on. At least that's how I feel about it. So the next time someone frustrates you, or hurts you, or offends you in any way, notice that they're just phenomena, just as you are. They're just phenomena of stuff happening. From the very first event in existence up until this moment of this person hurting you, this is just an unfolding of events, an unfolding of phenomena of nature. And so is your reaction. But beginning to realize that people don't make you feel a certain way, you actually react to the natural phenomena of the world and superimpose someone who's at fault in all this natural phenomena. You are the creator of your own reaction. Don't give your power away to an empty boat. Don't give your power away to something that you're making up to be the receiver and the cause of your reaction. And also, in a more friendly sense, realize that your reaction, it's not like you're the only one that exists and everything else is an empty boat, unless you're a solipsist or whatever it's called. I think that's what it is. You too are an empty boat. There's not someone. And superimposing that someone in yourself is what can make it so hard to see that it's just the world happening. The world is just happening. And realizing that you too are an empty boat can allow you to recognize, whether it's after the fact or hopefully before you've blamed someone else, that your own reaction is as well just an empty boat floating on the water. And you can see, oh, I was trying to blame someone, but there's no one there. This isn't even happening to me. This is just phenomena happening. So I hope you see what I'm saying here. I like this koan a lot. I like this coffee a lot too. There's no one there. There's no one there. When you realize that no one's there, you're left to yourself to realize that all of that energy is in you. The idea that someone was out there that caused you to feel that way, the intensity of the eruption of the emotion in that moment, it's all in you. It's all in you. So who are you mad at? Who are you really mad at? Besides yourself and the intensity of your own emotions and the model you have in your mind, your own mind, of what you'd prefer to be happening. Because we all have models. We all have models of what we'd like to happen. But when an empty boat comes and bumps up against us, and it's a little foggy, also known as we don't understand properly how things are occurring, it's easy to think there's someone in that boat that purposely or ignorantly ran into you. But there's no one there. There's no one there. It's just stuff happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed this koan. It's fun making this series. Like I said, waking up in the morning, getting my coffee, and just immediately tuning my mind into the higher nature of things. The higher nature of the empty boat that we all are. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you later.